Martin Plaut. He's a researcher and senior fellow at the Institute of Commonwealth Studies, and he joins us now live from London. Martin, welcome to the show. We're nearly 2 weeks into the fighting. Why is this now involving other countries, and how widespread could the fighting become?
Well, it clearly could become very widespread indeed. It is clearly an international conflict now. We have fighting between the Tigrayans and the Eritreans. Eritrea is, of course, a foreign country since 1991, effectively. And, that is another country that is involved. But with the refugees, as you pointed out in your report, streaming across into Sudan, there's certainly a possibility that the Sudanese will become involved. And then you have many other actors who could also become involved, including, for example, Somalia, and the United Arab Emirates, which is said to be providing some drones to the Ethiopians, which they're using in their attacks on the Tigrayans.
Surely Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who less than a year ago received a Nobel Peace Prize, can stop this?
Well, I wish that he would, and I wish that he would listen to the many calls for negotiations. The latest initiative came from the Ugandans. President Museveni held discussions with the Ethiopians the last day or so, and let's hope that that can resolve it. But the problem is that both sides have really nailed their colors to the mast. I cannot see either the Tigrayans or the Ethiopians under Prime Minister Abiy backing down at this stage. I just think it's implausible. I just wish it was not. But, I think that both sides are now determined to fight to the finish.
Why? Why do you think it's implausible?
Well, from the Tigrayan point of view, they're fighting for their existence. The federal forces are determined to crush them and crush their attempt at least autonomy, but possibly even independence. From the position of Prime Minister Abiy, he has committed his forces to end what he sees as a regional rebellion. And, his hold on power has always been, shall we say, somewhat tenuous. He has faced a lot of opposition from his own people, the Oromo. There are difficulties with other groups, for example, the Somalis. There have been clashes across the country for many years now. And, thousands, if not millions of people have been driven into internal exile by these clashes down the years since he took power. Now, in the circumstances, I don't think either person can back down.
And how well armed are the people, the Tigray People's Liberation Front, and also Prime Minister Abiy's forces?
Well, Prime Minister Abiy's forces, of course, will have access to the international arms market so they can be resupplied. The big problem for the Tigrayans is, although they both prevented heavy weaponry from being taken from the northern front, which is where they are, by blockading it in late last year, early this year, their problem will be resupply. How will they get ammunition? How will they get the fuel that they require in order to keep going? And they really only have one alternative, and that is via Sudan, which is in a sense why everybody is playing for Sudanese support. But it's interesting, in the last few days, there have been joint military exercises between Sudan and Egypt. And let's not forget that Egypt has a huge quarrel with the Ethiopians over the dam on the Blue Nile. So you can imagine where all these organizations can get involved, all these countries can get involved. They all have an interest in what is happening and a stake in what could take place. Just take one rebel group like Al-Shabaab. They will see the discontent and the concerns and the conflict inside Ethiopia. The Ethiopians have already withdrawn troops from Somalia, and they will see this as an opportunity. What will they do? We don't know, of course, at this stage, but the possibilities are very serious and could be regional and, in fact, international.
You raise many concerning points there, Martin. But one last question about the humans, the poor civilians caught up in the middle of this. Thousands have already fled to Sudan. Ethiopia is, and I didn't know this point, Africa's second most populous country. So how big could this humanitarian crisis get?
Well, when it began, the United Nations Refugee Agency said that as many as 200,000 people could cross the border. That is not impossible. I mean, the people of Tigray have always fled to Sudan when they needed to, because they did so in the 1984-85 famine. 100,000 people left Tigray at that time. Others could now see the same route. It's a route they've trodden before, and they know they can get some kind of sanctuary, they can get food, they can get assistance. So that is one thing that could happen. But at this stage, we can't be sure. Let us hope this is right at the beginning of this conflict. We're in the first 2 weeks. This is the moment to make some kind of deal and negotiated settlement. Don't try and resolve this by force of arms, because in the end, the Tigrayan fighters will retreat to the hills and the mountains. They fought there for 20 years in the past. We don't want to see that again.
Martin Plaut, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us, and thanks for your time. We appreciate it.